Hi, I'm Kathy Guy. I'm the Director of Community with Granger Community Church. We're talking today about change and how we really want other people to change. And doggone it, if we could just figure out how to get them to do what we want them to do, life would sure be a lot easier. We just would not have the problems that we have. However, there is this horrible truth that I hate to break the news to you, because it was really hard for me when I had it broken to myself, and that's that we don't actually have the power to change people. Yeah, it's true. We can't actually change other people. About the only thing we do have the power to do is make a change, create an atmosphere for change. We have the opportunity to create an atmosphere where there is the highest probability that if people are going to make some changes that will be helpful for our relationship, it'll happen inside that atmosphere. And that we can completely control. We can control our own behavior. And that sometimes is the biggest challenge for us. The way I like to think of this, and I've seen so many people do this, and I've done it too, is we are kind of slow to pick this up. Sometimes it can go on for years and years, the entire length of marriages, the entire length of relationships, and sometimes it is incredibly tragic because of the pain and hurt and bitterness that gets caused in those relationships. I'd equate it, have you ever watched kids play tag? If you have ever watched kids play tag, typically there's someone who's it, right? And it has to get someone else, they have to tag them. And whenever they're in this position, okay, there's one person who is chasing another, right? And the person out front, what do? They're running and they're trying to make sure they get caught and they're dodging, but they're always doing something. They're looking over their shoulder. They keep looking over their shoulder. Where are you at? Where are you at? And as long as you chase them, they're good. They're going to keep running. But there's something that happens if the person who's it gets tired. They realize they're late for dinner. They will stop. They're like, I'm out of breath. I don't feel like playing this game anymore. I'm going home. They turn and walk the other way. Well, what happens is the person that was being chased, they're looking over their shoulder. And as soon as they find out that they're not being chased, what do? They turn right back towards the person who is chasing them, and they generally start taking a step or two and go, hey, how come we're not still playing? Come on, get back in the game with me. And so that's what it means, that it's this crazy thing we do in relationships. About the time we stop pursuing other people to change, they're actually more interested in it. They turn back towards us. They move a little bit closer to us because generally they're just like, hey, what's going on? How come you're not chasing me anymore? Did you stop caring? And they're going to start inquiring and seeing what's happening, okay? So understand that nature of human dynamics, that whenever you're trying to get someone to come a certain direction, I had a 2-year-old, he always held his feet up whenever I tried to pull him out from underneath the clothes racks, where he always hid. He would stick his feet out and try to keep himself from being pulled out. That's the same, it's common human behavior. People generally resist wherever we're trying to move them to, and that's the point. Creating this atmosphere for change looks like this. People will change when they're accepted. People will change when they don't have to change in order to be loved by you. And it comes down to this topic of acceptance versus tolerance, okay? Acceptance is to love, as tolerance is to judgment. And just try to substitute that. If you tell your spouse, I tolerate you so much, yeah, it doesn't work. Don't try it. But it really just speaks this language, and you know when you're feeling it. When I see someone come in that I'm a little bit frustrated, they walk in the door, man, if I put up a big sigh and just like, oh goodness, here I go, I'm tolerating them. And it can be very, very damaging to the relationship. But what acceptance does, it says, you know what? I don't have to understand, agree, or celebrate with what you're doing, but I can accept that I'm not in your shoes. If it were so easy to change, you already would have. It really says that I'm not you. I'm not inside your head. I don't know why you won't change. I don't know why you keep the same behavior patterns going. But I can have some empathy for you if you're someone I love. And I can say, wow, it must stink to be going through the damages and the stuff that you're in. And what's so amazing about this, the reason why it works, why we create these atmosphere, why creating an atmosphere for change is so helpful, it's exactly what Jesus offers us. Jesus doesn't tell us to clean up. Jesus says, no, I'll accept you right where you're at. I already have, by the way. You just didn't even know it. I love you. I care for you. And right where you're at, that's where you matter. And when we receive love like that, I want to respond to it. I don't want to be disappointing. I don't want to be a jerk in response to that. I want to respond in really helpful ways. And that same thing that we start feeling with Jesus is exactly what happens inside of our personal relationships. And it's why Jesus calls us to love God and then to love others. He really modeled creating this atmosphere of acceptance, this atmosphere for change that's inside of acceptance, and we get the opportunity to love other people well by creating an atmosphere for change for them. Thank you.